In this special edition of Monsters and Mysteries, they may be the strangest, fear-inducing fiends ever to emerge from the outer edge. Mysterious men, dressed in black.
The most troubling thing about the Men in Black phenomenon is their covert nature. You never know when they're coming.
They're colorless. They're empty. You should be wary.
Are they part of some secret government agency, a shadow organization, or are they something weirder? Could they be aliens themselves?
There's evidence. They may be the oldest evil there is.
You're looking at men who represent Satan, the Antichrist, and the false prophet.
This begs the question even more. Who are the real Men in Black?
We've recovered the details of one man's legendary encounter. The story in his own words, lost for decades.
And he told me that he was a searcher. A searcher. A searcher.
Now, for the first time, an entire episode steps into this dark domain to discover the real Men in Black. Discovering the true nature of the so-called Men in Black and their dark agenda is no easy task. The search could go back centuries and extend worldwide. The hunt could take you through scores of cultures, awash with stories of dark devils, demonic tricksters, and predatory vampires.
The Men in Black kind of look like pale-faced vampires. They look like ghouls. They look like something dug up out of the ground. They seem to attract or cause poltergeist activity. So you have an entire subculture that supports the demonic angle for the Men in Black.
In America, no area of Men in Black phenomena is more notorious than their connection to UFO activity.
Latest evidence in the saucer mystery are these exclusive motion picture films from Louisville, Kentucky.
For more than half a century, reports of aliens arriving from other planets have touched nearly every corner of America. Claims about these events are so numerous, they're difficult to ignore.
But I can't fathom it because it seems so unreal.
Yet investigating these reports is a step that may create dangers all its own.
Men in Black has kind of put a fear into my heart and soul, especially in my early days of research. In other words, stop it or you'll be sorry sort of syndrome. And that's pretty scary.
If you are an experiencer, I think you're going to be looking over your shoulder.
With some of the very first flying saucer events, Men in Black encounters emerged. June 1947. Puget Sound, Washington. Two harbor patrolmen, Harold Dahl and Fred Chrisman, were on a workboat when they observed unusual saucer-shaped aircraft in the sky.
What is that thing? Think we ought to call it in? What are we going to say it is?
One of these objects was maneuvering in a very erratic and strange fashion. And it suddenly exploded in the sky, showering all this strange wreckage down into the harbour.
One of those objects dropped something down onto the ship, which actually killed a dog.
According to Chrisman and Dahl, after they returned to port, events got even stranger.
Gentlemen, perhaps you've seen the weather balloon?
Balloon?
It was a random weather balloon test.
Hey, man, there was an explosion.
Easy mistake.
Easy mistake.
Nothing to be concerned about.
doll was approached by a real man in black, and he was threatened with his life, his family's life was threatened.
You will not speak of this to anyone.
Making it very, very clear that under no circumstances should he talk about this encounter.
You don't want to alarm anyone, do you?
This particular case is important because this was the very first man in black encounter in which a witness was threatened after having seen a UFO.
It also contained a key feature of the Men in Black.
You know, the G-men look. The thin tie, very well-pressed pants, black, overcoat.
Very often wearing fedora-style hats. So they do have this air of authority about them, which does give off kind of like a government angle.
These visits began occurring with regularity. Wherever a UFO event unfolds, and someone starts asking questions, soon they realize they're the ones being investigated. For almost 50 years, Stan Gordon has been tracking UFO sightings around Pennsylvania. In the early 1970s, western Pennsylvania seemed practically under assault.
We had this massive wave of UFO activity throughout the state of Pennsylvania. Actually, it was unprecedented.
All of a sudden, it was like an invasion. It was just report after report after report coming in. And once it got up into the hundreds of reports and thousands of people in this region, I mean, it became serious business. Like, what the heck is this?
It was in the midst of all the UFO sightings that Stan got the first clues the Men in Black were tracking him. August 24th, 1973. At a trailer park in Derry, Pennsylvania, something had just unfolded. Something out of this world.
So when we get on the scene, we interview the family involved and some of the other neighbors who experienced what happened that night. It was very apparent these people were frightened and very, very upset over what they had experienced. You could see the emotion. They had seen something that wasn't supposed to exist. We found out that this woman and her son were inside of their trailer. From the back of the trailer, they heard scratching sounds. And also what sounded like baby crying sounds. Near very close range, she sees this very tall humanoid creature, wide-shouldered, over 6 foot tall. They were very, very frightened.
It must have been attracted to the trailer's electrical supply. Right after, the woman's power shuts off. The creature departed, but left some residue behind. The woman's screams drew the attention of neighbors, who immediately called the police.
Hey, we've got a pretty big...
And when the police get out there, they find what appeared to be some footprints that are very unusual.
Even more unusual, the Men in Black that arrived soon after. Later that night, Stan Gordon received an urgent call.
I'm on the line, and the operator breaks in with an emergency call.
Hello, Stan?
And the emergency call happened to be from the woman who lived in that mobile home. She said,
Someone came to my home.
this man here wanted to talk to her about seeing the creature that night.
Did the creature leave any evidence?
Something on the doorknob. Stan told me to keep it.
Who?
He said he was with you.
He indicated that he knew me.
I work with Stan.
which of course that wasn't the case.
It's okay to give it to me.
And if she gave him the samples, he would get them to me.
You never knew when the men in black were going to show up, and you never knew how they got their information.
You took the sample?
He took everything.
He's not with us.
Sorry.
Probably any serious person studying UFOs in that era would have had some at least basic fear that the men in black were always one step away.
This is all particularly unnerving for the witnesses because the big question is what's going to happen next? Is the man in black going to come back?
I'm your curious cat, and you know what they say about curiosity. It'll ruin your house. So get all safe and be better protected from mayhem, like Meow.
Your kitchen will never be the same. Introducing Food Network Kitchen. Live and on-demand cooking classes taught by your favorite chefs.
Everybody's Bobby Flay.
Right from your countertops. Food Network Kitchen. Download the app today.
Introducing the Food Network Kitchen app. This is the Tip Zone. Your favorite chefs live and more than 1,000 on-demand classes at your fingertips. Cook in real time with the masters. Food Network Kitchen. Download the app and sign up today.
Imagine the unbelievable. Witnessing firsthand an unidentified flying object. As if a UFO encounter isn't shocking enough. For years, stories have circulated about witnesses getting visits from men in black.
Gentlemen, perhaps you've seen the weather balloon?
The files of UFO researcher Stan Gordon include many investigations suddenly derailed. There's the 1973 case of an apparent alien encounter at a trailer park in southern Pennsylvania.
And there's a young boy there, and he's taking Polaroid pictures of the footprints.
Just then, a strange, dark-suited man arrived.
I just took a picture.
You just took us a picture.
And he makes some kind of an odd comment like, it has been destroyed. My reaction was the concern of who was this man, where did he come from, where are the samples, why did he destroy the evidence at the scene?
One of the most disconcerting and baffling aspects of the Men in Black mystery is that even if you don't tell anyone about your encounter, the Men in Black still find out about it. And that can lead to intimidating phone calls, people being followed, and even telephone monitoring.
And with MIBs, it can get much worse.
I believe men in black are to be feared. If they tell you to do something and you don't listen to what they tell you, they will do anything to get their way, even kill you. I believe they would kill you if they had the opportunity.
Stan Gordon has seen just how intimidating the Men in Black can be. One of his most terrifying cases unfolded in October of 1973 at a Pennsylvania farm.
And what I find out is that about 9 o'clock that night, they see this large object about as big as a barn, a big round red sphere, about 100 feet off the ground and hovering.
as the glowing orb descended on the farm. Steve Geiger and his two cousins set off towards the pasture.
This thing's maybe about 100 feet or so in diameter, and it's illuminating the whole area. And then their attention is drawn to two huge humanoid figures walking in their direction. They get a really good look at them.
The creatures that Steve described were very, very strange. 7 to 9 feet tall, arms hanging down past their knees, and they had these weird self-illuminating eyes.
There's that flash of light. And when he fires that second shot, the object in the field disappears. It just vanishes from sight.
He had seen an alien spacecraft and creatures that couldn't be from Earth.
I remember what Steve always said to me. He said he never forget how those glowing eyes just kept staring at him. And he said, look, I've been hunting all my life. He said, I know I hit it. I know I hit that big creature, but there was no effect on it whatsoever.
While Men in Black don't pursue each and every witness, clearly, this farmer had seen too much.
Here was a guy that had a very, very close encounter. He was the one that they picked.
I'm going to help you remember.
I'm your curious cat, and you know what they say about curiosity. It'll ruin your house. So get all state and be better protected from mayhem, like Meow.
For decades, America has been awash with rumors of mysterious Men in Black. Hovering, hard to define, yet spreading the word, we're watching you.
When it comes to the Men in Black, what we do know is that UFO witnesses have been actively monitored, watched, and threatened, and that's very frightening for them.
It's a scenario that Stan Gordon discovered back in the 1970s, when he first started tracking UFO reports. Case in point, one night in October 1973, Stan received an urgent call about an alien encounter at a farm.
Like fluorescent green. See these marks here? We were sitting on the porch.
State troopers were on the scene.
The ground is like bright green. So I grabbed my shotgun.
And what the trooper tells me is where the object had been on the ground. That whole area is now self-luminescent and glowing. 100, maybe 150 feet or so in diameter, he estimated. The light coming up from the glowing area is coming up about 12 inches off the ground.
Just appeared out of the woods.
By the time we got there,
and his eyes were glowing.
The farm animal still wasn't going anywhere near that area.
As the days passed, Stan Gordon stayed in touch with the farmer, Steve Geiger.
And we talked to him about the possibility of doing hypnosis, and he kind of looked at us a little funny and said, why do you want to hypnotize me again? And we said, Steve, we never hypnotized you.
As Stan would learn shortly after the UFO incident, Steve was visited by two strange men. One dressed in an Air Force uniform, the other a black suit.
He always assumed they were connected to my research group. These men wanted to, again, do a thorough investigation with him. They want to go over all the details with him.
After that, this farmer's world turned upside down.
This isn't happening.
I'm going to help you remember.
Hypnotic techniques were applied.
this what you saw? You're not crazy. Everything is perfectly normal. It's really not even worth mentioning to anyone.
And they told him he wasn't crazy, that he saw what he saw, that they would be in touch. But that was the last they ever heard from him. Right away, we knew something unusual had occurred. We had never hypnotized him. None of the people associated with our research group had hypnotized him, and we wanted to find out what was he talking about.
That was just one way of kind of containing it. How else could you take just somebody from the general population? How do you suppress them? You threaten them.
According to those who knew him, the man never got over the trauma.
I didn't doubt the fact that he had a visit by these quote-unquote men in black. I'm sure it was hard for him to get past anyone that would have to go through an experience like that. It has a long-lasting effect.
Paranormal researcher Clyde Lewis has no doubts about the men in black.
They're the cleanup crew. They're the guys behind the curtain. So when things get out of hand, whether a UFO sighting or an exotic aircraft is seen that nobody's supposed to see or something, they'll show up and they'll tell you, that this is something that you're not supposed to be dealing with.
After these investigations, Stan realized what he was up against. In short order, witnesses forget their stories, misplace evidence. They never saw anything.
Some of these cases seem to suggest the possibility that there may indeed be a government agency that continues to investigate UFOs at a very high secretive level, and they're out there doing interviews and gathering evidence. So there was that big question still remained: who were these men? Why did they want to interview the witness, and what were they going to do with the information?
They may even welcome word of their special brand of terror to trickle out, sending the message, you could be next.
Since 1947, there have been literally hundreds of Men in Black reports all around the world. The US government's official stance on the Men in Black is that the mystery is nothing to do with them. This begs the question even more: who are the real Men in Black?
Some are certain the Men in Black must be from the government. Other clues suggest the mystery goes much deeper, to a shadowy group whose identities may go beyond this world and this point in time. In West Virginia, on the night of November 2nd, 1966, a sewing machine salesman named Woody Derenberger was driving home. His story has been among the most discussed cases in the Men in Black phenomenon. Lost for decades, audio tapes of his original testimony were recently recovered.
I never had believed in flying saucers before. I honestly never did believe in it.
Do you believe in them now?
I believe in what I seen last night. I believe it was an alien.
Your kitchen will never be the same. Introducing Food Network Kitchen. Live and on-demand cooking classes taught by your favorite chefs.
Hey everybody, it's Bobby Flay.
Right from your countertops. Food Network Kitchen. Download the app today.
Introducing the Food Network Kitchen app. This is the Tip Zone. Your favorite chefs live and more than 1,000 on-demand classes at your fingertips. Cook in real time with the masters. Food Network Kitchen. Download the app and sign up today.
I'm your curious cat, and you know what they say.